Welcome! The second reign of Star-Crossed Kings continues. CaptainSPrice has been dominating this tournament for so long, and yet another challenger has stepped up to try to take him down. This time we are going to see OMGPOP step up and try and dethrone CaptainSPrice, who has defeated all finalists and winners of both Fuxrex and Volta and the second Star-Crossed Cup at this point. If he wins this, he's going to start taking out semifinalists too from Fuxrex and Volta. OMGPOP, one of the semifinalists in that tournament, in addition to Cruz, Loveness, and Jezelyn, all of whom CaptainSPrice has already knocked out. Let's see if OMGPOP can succeed where they have failed. We're going to see OMGPOP going with U.S. forces, and unlike Recon Company, which I thought he would pick for sure because I've never seen him not take it, he has actually already gone with Infantry Company, and of course CaptainSPrice is going to immediately go with his breakthrough selection, and just do his standard build from what I can tell. Reinforced wire barricade going down here on the central victory point. Folks Grenadiers making their way towards the left. And there's the super early mechanized regiment headquarters. I wonder if OMGPOP wants to go captain tier. Probably. Captain tier goes very nicely with infantry company. You've got a lot of anti-infantry firepower in the LMG upgrades for your riflemen, so if you throw out 4 riflemen with those, a lot of firepower, especially on a long-range map like this. And then he can utilize the features of Captain Tier to take on Mechanized Regiment Headquarters. Utilize Captain's Bazookas and the Stuart to try and defeat that flak half-track. We saw an attempt by Paul to accomplish that exact thing on Faymanville Approach, although I don't think he was using Infantry Company, but he did go Captain Tier. His first engagement's going very poorly for OMGPOP, though. That squad of riflemen might even get wiped on retreat. Sturm Pioneers in the retreat path is a problem. More riflemen moving up to try to support. Folks Grenadiers to take control of the building with the Sturm Pioneers rotated to fire at that squad of infantry. These riflemen may attempt to get away, but it doesn't look like they're going to succeed. Wow, crossing that red cover, they took almost no damage. Sturm Pioneers chasing take a heavy amount of damage from the riflemen here in this yellow cover position. Very lucky that that rifle squad got away there. Sturm Pioneers taking a decent amount of bleed, and these riflemen moving up into closer range to continue to engage here. With more riflemen moving to support, looks like this engagement will go to OMGPOP, since this squad of Folks Grenadiers was deployed to the right, and since, of course, the super early purchase of this structure means no support is on its way over here to the left. CaptainSPrice will be forced to make a full retreat and loses control of the left side fuel point, which means, of course, that early flak half-track's going to be delayed. Rear echelon troops have taken control of the fuel point over there on the right. Could get chased away by these Folks Grenadiers easily enough.
Capture complete. No enemy activity.
And riflemen are moving to take control of the fuel and strategic points over here now. Pretty good opening from OMGPOP. He had a bit of a risky moment there where that lone rifleman looked like he might get wiped, but and in fact he's not even going to reinforce that, but simply move to do some back capping with it. Slightly risky, but as long as he maintains good vision, shouldn't be too big of an issue. These riflemen moving forward will spot some Folks Grenadiers, reposition back into some cover. Fresh squad of riflemen making its way to the front lines as well.
Gun has taken the field.
And CaptainSPrice going with that early Rakettenwerfer again. Against Cheese, he did have an M3 to deal with. Against OMGPOP, no early vehicles. In fact, he doesn't even have an officer yet, so I feel like that Rakettenwerfer was a little premature. But he might be afraid of a really quick M20. In fact, OMGPOP went not Captain Tier, but Lieutenant Tier. So that Rakettenwerfer actually may end up paying off. I think he probably could have afforded to get a 4th squad of Folks Grenadiers to go up against these 4 squads of Riflemen and Lieutenant, but at least he has that Rakettenwerfer on the field to protect him against an early light vehicle if OMGPOP decides to go that route. Nothing in production yet, and with 36 fuel coming in, that AA half-track easily within the realm of possibility, or he might just start spamming Shermans. Might just go straight into a major and try and get Shermans on the field without getting any light vehicles. Having really good map control like this, not much of a reason not to.
Infantry attacking in force.
CaptainSPrice just now collecting the fuel for his flak half-track. OMGPOP does queue up the AA half-track, so no major. Gonna go with the AA half-track and continue to apply pressure with that as early as he absolutely can. Rifleman moving up into cover to engage these Volksgrenadiers and try and push CaptainSPrice right back into his base. Flak half-track is in production, and he's gonna need to make very good use of it. He's going to need to make very good use of that flak half-track to try and get some map control back. He does still control this victory point here in the center. Hasn't bled a lot of VPs yet, but he's about to as OMGPOP moves to take control of the center and set up a triple cap against his opponent. OMGPOP has actually fallen 60 points behind here in the early game, but now that CaptainSPrice is completely boxed into his base, that situation is about to change. And the AA half-track from both sides is about to complete. This one moves straight up to the battlefield and will prompt a retreat from those two squads of riflemen, supported by this blob of infantry. Fires on them, gets a nice burst of damage as they're crossing the river. Might see that squad go down. Not quite. Not quite. Both squads will be able to get away. Flak half-track already up to 3 kills. Stern Pioneers in the area, of course, are available to repair. This AA half-track has moved to start screening these infantry away as well as possible. And with fuel transfer on, nowhere near the 90 munitions he needs for a Panzerschreck. That squad's going to be forced to retreat. And now both AA half-tracks are up to 3 kills. Meanwhile, over here on the right side, lots of infantry taking control of the munitions over here, getting this territory under their control.
Is under attack. Our supply line's cut. Germans are making a push.
Ooh, nice Rakettenwerfer shot right there. AA half-track will need to reposition to safety. Flak half-track is making a kind of aggressive maneuver to try and maybe just get one flak burst off, but it's not going to be able to do anything. That AA half-track is long gone. Something just got wiped. Where? What happened? Wasn't paying attention over here, but the Stern Pioneer squad just went down to this blob of infantry, I think. I don't even see their corpses. I don't even know where the engagement happened. Right here, I guess. Full squad of Stern Pioneers wiped while that flak half-track is taking their attention up over here, and that means that that's a pretty big manpower loss for CaptainSPrice. He's not going to have minesweepers, and he's not going to have repairs. At least not going to repair as quickly. Not mobile repairs. Minesweeper, of course, will not be that big of a concern against U.S. forces unless OMGPOP goes with the M20. So far, it doesn't look like he's planning to do that. Might see that squad get wiped. Almost. Panzer Fusiliers get 2 volleys here. 3 volleys, maybe? No, 2 volleys. Neither one connects. Rifle squad makes it away by a hair again. That's 2 times this game that OMGPOP has managed to preserve a rifle squad with just the tiniest amount of health left. OMGPOP continuing to hover over here to prevent harassment of these territories, but victory points are now back in Price's control. Pop managed to secure a small lead. Nothing too big.
Contact infantry.
AA half-track over here forces those Volksgrenadiers to retreat. Meanwhile, AA half-track is dealing damage to these squads. Taking some damage from G43s on the right. Going to be forced to retreat. With that flak half-track in the retreat path, this is a pretty dangerous place for them to be standing. Kind of overshoots a little bit though. Still, lots of damage on those retreating. A little friendly fire too, but not too much manpower bleed. The lieutenant still manages to get away with 4 men remaining, but up to Vet 1, this half-track now basically wins against the US one because it has access to smoke, and this half-track cannot attack ground. This one can. Vet 1 gets a very significant advantage over it. We're going to see LMGs thrown onto this squad of riflemen, though, and those are probably going to keep hitting the field. Major on the field as well, trying to take some territory. Defensive stance being thrown down on those riflemen. More riflemen moving up into some green cover here. Rakettenwerfer is available for the engagement. AA half-track also available for the engagement. Black half-track does a little damage to those riflemen. Rakettenwerfer does land a hit on the AA half-track, prompt it to reposition, but it's already suppressed and heavily damaged the Volksgrenadiers in that location. Defensive stance riflemen holding the line pretty well against that AA half-track so far. They're not that clumped, but they're going to be forced to retreat. There they go. Repairs continuing over here, and with that Major on the field and Pop controlling both fuel points for the entire game, there's going to be so many Shermans. He's already got the resources for one. I'd be surprised if he went for Jackson first, although he's floated a little extra fuel. Maybe thinking of going Jackson first just for a super hard. Nope. There's a Sherman. Just a little late to queue it up, I guess. Over here on the right side, these two squads making their way to engage. Fusiliers does walk into red cover, and with no ambulances, Lieutenant is already wounded for this engagement. Drops two guys almost immediately. There's the flak half-track. Moves into short range for the anti-tank rifle grenade. Will retreat immediately thereafter. Again, with no Sturm Pioneers on the field, he will have to reposition all the way back to his mechanized regiment headquarters to repair that. AA half-track pounding away at that squad of Volksgrenadiers. We could see that wiped. There it goes. That's the first squad wipe of the game other than the Sturm Pioneers. First infantry squad wipe. So Price has lost two squads of infantry. OMGPOP has lost none, and a Sherman just rolled onto the field. Price doing a good job of managing the victory points, but not much else. He is about to get the right side back under his control, but with that Sherman rolling on the field, he's going to have a lot of trouble. He has only one Rakettenwerfer with which to deal with that Sherman. And here it comes. Now we know that Price's build here is very weak against early tanks. One Rakettenwerfer is just not enough to survive on until he can get that Jagdpanzer out, especially if he cannot maintain fuel control. Here comes the Sherman. It's already landed a huge hit. With LMGs moving to support, everything has to retreat completely off the field. Lieutenant taking the center VP. Major moving up to take this point over here. A couple squads in the base. Moving across the right side soon with Sherman support. We'll easily be able to get that under control as well. And Price is going to really struggle. Ambulance in production now, and Pop's fuel income is still very high. He's going to be able to get a second Sherman quite soon. Rakettenwerfer does land two shots on that Sherman. That's going to be forced back for repairs. The AA half-track up to Vet 2 now. 15 kills. It's definitely doing quite well. Getting a pretty decent return on that investment. Ooh, that Lieutenant's going to have to take a weird retreat path. Caught in red cover with no retreat path. He needs to retreat that. Fortunately, the Fusiliers with G43s did not move to engage, so they're actually going to be fine. Riflemen with LMGs engaging across the river over here, taking a bit of damage. Pop's still kind of struggling to get the munitions together to throw LMGs on every single one of these squads. So that squad's going to be forced to retreat quite soon. Dealing good damage though, despite being already wounded for this engagement. These riflemen charge across the river to buy the LMG across the river a little more time as these two squads change targets. But it looks like the engagement is going to go to Price. Over here on the left side, the A half-track crew just got sniped! Just got sniped by these G43s, I think, and he cannot recrew with this half-track. Half-track can't be stolen by Price either, though, with that Sherman protecting. He's just gonna blow it up. He has no choice. He has to blow up his own half-track. Nice play by Captain Price right there to get that half-track off the field, just sniping the crew repairing. Really, really good pickup there. And that Sherman has no choice but to destroy it before repositioning for further repairs. Over here on the right side, rear echelon troops taking control of the fuel. And that squad of riflemen does win the engagement, actually, apparently, somehow. But will be forced to retreat by even light counter-harassment over there on the right side. Couple squads here in the base need to do some reinforcement. Pop has not lost any full squads yet, but losing that AA half-track definitely is a setback. Second Sherman in production now, and he's also up to 9 command points, so he has access to all of his doctrinal features. But until he can get some fuel and munitions under his control, or more under his control, more firmly under his control, Priest is going to be delayed. Time on target artillery, also not much of an option until he's fully outfitted his riflemen with those LMGs. Every single squad has at least one now. And OMGPOP doesn't really have any anti-tanks, so once the Jagdpanzer is on the field, there's not going to be much of a counter to that other than the 2 Shermans. He's going to have to use those Shermans very effectively to counter that Jagdpanzer. If the Raketenwerfer, Panzerschreck, and Jagdpanzer combo proves enough to take on 2 Shermans, then Pop will actually be in a little bit of danger because he just won't have all that much anti-tank. Sherman going deep into the base here. Raketenwerfer is set up to counter. Gets 1 shot off. We could see an anti-tank rifle grenade from these Panzer Fusiliers damage the engine of that Sherman. It's now in a lot of trouble. Jagdpanzer just rolled onto the field. Raketenwerfer can't get a line on the Sherman though. Flak half-track moving up to assist. Ooh, nice play by that Sherman over there, however. Jagdpanzer wants to finish off the Sherman, destroys the engine. I think that Sherman is dead, but the flak half-track has been destroyed by the flanking Sherman over here. There goes the second one. This one's going to pull back to safety. Raketenwerfer and Panzerschreck retreating. Jagdpanzer will disengage from this engagement for now, I think. Pulling back a little bit into a more safe location. Getting his bearings. 50 cal going up from OMGPOP here. If OMGPOP loses his second Sherman, he's going to be in a lot of trouble though. Jagdpanzer moves to engage, misses its first shot. Panzerschreck connects. Raketenwerfer does not get a shot off. Jagdpanzer is giving chase. No Captain Tier, no AT guns, no anything to defend against this Jagdpanzer. Lieutenant is forced to retreat there, but the LMGs set up with their defensive stance are suppressing this entire blob down so that they cannot give chase with the Jagdpanzer. Anti-tank grenade from those riflemen will damage the Jagdpanzer's engine, and the Sherman has actually flanked around this side. With the Jagdpanzer having a damaged engine, it's going to switch to armor-piercing rounds. That Jag could be in danger. The Raketenwerfer got cleared, so it cannot support in this engagement on the flank, and this Panzerschreck is that Jagdpanzer's only defense. Oh no, Jagdpanzer's gonna go down here. Unless OMGPOP gets some kind of huge mistake. There it goes, Jagdpanzer destroyed. Sherman circles around for the flanking maneuver with the Raketenwerfer cleared and Panzerschreck not able to get in range to support. Captain Price is once again completely on the back foot. OMGPOP also about to collect the fuel for a third Sherman, and his blob of infantry here getting crushed. So much manpower bleed. SWS half-track goes down. Full squad of Fusiliers wiped. Panzerschreck about to get wiped. Price reduced to only 3 squads of Fusiliers remaining. Ouch. That was a very close and decisive engagement. That could have gone either way. OMGPOP nailed it and got a little bit lucky actually with the anti-tank grenade damaging the engine on the frontal armor. Sometimes those can bounce, but I think the fact that Jag got his engine damaged, and of course the beautiful flank by riflemen on that Raketenwerfer that Price was just kind of blobbing into a little bit, let that Raketenwerfer get cleared, let his flak half-track get taken out. Price loses all priority targets and is unable to break his containment, get back on the map. OMGPOP takes game 1. Short break and we'll jump into game 2.